Wielding a machete, this is an agent of the British state.
Ultimately, this position within the security services was used to terrorise me.
A violent MI5 agent who was able to exploit his position despite a long history of abuse.
He said he would be able to kill me and my daughter too.
But the abuser, a threat to women and children, can't be named. Following an unprecedented legal case involving secret hearings, the government succeeded in keeping his identity hidden from the public. This is the story the government tried to stop. Beth, not her real name, is British. She met her ex-partner abroad and they lived together in the UK. The relationship became progressively more abusive.
There was so much psychological terror from him to me that ultimately culminated in me having a breakdown because I was so afraid of everything, because of how he'd made me think, the people that he was involved with and the people who he worked for.
He told her he was informing on networks of right-wing extremists.
He said he worked for the security services.
But the role was abused.
Ultimately, this position within the security services was used to terrorise me because it meant that I couldn't speak out about any of his behaviour towards me, because he had men in high places who always had his back, who would intervene and who would actively kill me if I spoke out.
Is that what he said?
That's what I believed, and that's what he said.
The security service runs agents in terrorist networks, informants who secretly work with MI5 officers, their handlers. Controversial powers let MI5 authorise its agents to commit crimes as part of their cover, but only to access life-saving intelligence, disrupt more serious crime, or ensure an agent's safety. Violence and coercive control in private, domestic abuse are different.
He had complete control. I was a shadow of who I am now. At the end of the relationship, he dictated my every waking hour. Where I went, who I saw, how I worked, what I did at work, and what I wore.
Beth says his extremist mindset wasn't an act, and that he spoke about wanting to carry out an act of terrorist mass murder. He's also a threat to children.
He told me he had sexual fantasies about children, lots of different children, and he had paedophilic literature and that I believed he would act on it. I was absolutely horrified. I didn't dare report him because the police would always be on his side. That's what he told me.
His mistreatment of Beth included this attack.
I thought I'd better film this, mostly because I felt afraid.
He threatens to kill her and returns with a machete.
And at the point that I say I'm going to call the police, he's punched me in the face and I've fallen. And you can hear me screaming and he tries to stab me repeatedly.
He attacked her again within hours.
He somehow got me onto my knees, much like one of those beheading videos, and held the knife to my throat to try and slit it open. And the only reason he didn't slit it open was because I bit down into the hand that he was holding the knife with.
Weeks later, he referenced the incident, unaware he was being filmed, telling her she might get killed. Asked if he'll do it, he says,
"It was almost me."
He then describes his desire to kill.
"It's constantly in me. This murderous thing is always in me. I always imagine how I bludgeon someone to death. It's always me. It's always been me. I've been doing it since I was like 6. I'm overly aggressive. I know that myself."
Following the attack, police went to their home. The agent was arrested and charged with assaulting her. But officers didn't take a full statement from Beth or obtain the video evidence, so prosecutors immediately dropped the case. The police force concerned and Crown Prosecution Service insist the case was discontinued due to a lack of evidence. Beth says he then appeared back at their property and continued to mistreat her. Within weeks, The agent vanished and she was hospitalised due to a mental breakdown. But extremist material found in the house, including a note he wrote about killing Jewish people, had already generated a police counter-terror investigation. Some of Beth's possessions were also seized by detectives from their home, but returned to a relative months later in an alarming visit by an unidentified stranger. I've established the mystery man didn't work for the police. He was, in fact, an MI5 officer. The counter-terror investigation ended with MI5 being passed the evidence on their man. It was a highly unusual move by MI5, suggesting interference in a criminal inquiry. Police have since refused to investigate his treatment of Beth. Counter-terror police say no criminality was identified during their inquiries, but have apologised for the fact Beth's possessions were not passed directly to her. We've examined his alarming personal behaviour in the UK, which will have been visible to the authorities. The agent joined a dating site looking for women under an extremist alias linked to his MI5 work. Elsewhere, he boasted about sexually exploiting women and expressed approval for a young girl being raped and murdered. But how far back does his mistreatment of women go, and where is he now? We've traced him to another country. After leaving the UK, while still under counter-terror investigation, he began working for a foreign intelligence agency.
Violence. Always violence.
Ruth, not her real name, met him in the foreign country years ago. Their relationship was horrifying.
Then he started to tell me things that no human being would be able to get over, such as swimming in a river of blood, eating children's flesh. I had to listen to this every day. He said he would be able to kill me and my daughter too, and then put our bodies somewhere. And no one would ever know who I am.
Fearing for her life, she was taken to a refuge and spoke to local police.
I was psychologically broken, really broken. The women's shelter ordered an ambulance to bring me to the hospital. I wasn't able to speak that night. I couldn't say a word. I was lying in my bed and I tried to call for my daughter or somebody else, but all I could get out was I couldn't speak.
He left her heavily in debt and seemed to have disappeared. We found he spent years in Britain using her name to hide his real identity while working for MI5.
I think it's not fair and I'm angry. It's crazy for me. I'm very hurt. I feel cheated. You can't have trust. There is no justice.
The agent threatened to kill and sexually abuse young girls known to both Ruth and Beth. The government said it will not comment on security or intelligence, but the court order is aimed at protecting national security and avoiding a real and immediate risk to life, safety and privacy. Last year, Sarah Everard was murdered by a police officer who abused the power of the state. The government has announced an inquiry into her death, saying it will shine a light on the failings that let an officer use his power in such a horrific manner. Warning signs are rarely plainer than the ones we've found, but the same government took us to the High Court, first trying to stop this story ever being broadcast, and then seeking to dramatically limit what we could report. They failed, but we've been legally prevented from naming the agent because of a potential risk to him from other extremists, despite the threat he poses. The government said it was obliged to protect him from harm.
Sisters united will never be defeated.
Violence against women and the state's response to it is one of the issues of our time. Yet the British government has thrown its full weight behind stopping women everywhere being warned about this dangerous abuser. He could now be anywhere and with anyone.